There's no better way to get better at football than playing football. So if you want to...
Taylor's going to finish it!
I've always been confident in my abilities. I think, I'm a guy that can go out there, and I always believe in myself that I'm going to get open and make the play if they throw me the ball.
The third. Ryan, end zone shot for Pierce. He caught it! Oh, what a...
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Colts Cast. We're here to talk about everything and anything Indianapolis Colts. Here's Jamal Lawrence. I am Eric Smith, your co-host of the Colts Cast. Jamal, let's jump right into it. OTAs, what did you think about it?
Man, OTAs. I actually just watched Shane Steichen's presser here just a few minutes ago. It's only a quick, 5 or 6 minute one. But what I liked about that, man, and this is more so about him and his style, more so than OTAs in general. Just because I know that today was one media day, so we got a little bit of content, but not a whole lot. But dude, Steichen is a straightforward, no BS guy. He walked into the podium straight off the bat, said, "Hey, we're not about to sit here and talk about this Isaiah Rodgers Sr. stuff. We're going to let the NFL do their job. We're not speaking on it. XYZ," left it at that. Eric, as you can imagine, every reporter fired away questions at him. Isaiah this, Isaiah that, Isaiah this, Isaiah that. He said, "Guys, I'll tell you like this. We're not talking about this. Here's what we're going to move on forward to." So that's why I like, and then but one question that someone asked, they said something along the lines of, how did the NFL, or is the NFL still in the building? And, how are they taking everything that's going on? So he did say that NFL is in the building, but he said that the NFL comes in every year to kind of have this discussion with the players. I wasn't aware of that the NFL comes in every year to talk about the importance of not gambling, et cetera, et cetera. So, again, as we know, he made a few 100 mistakes because he placed over 100 bets, but that's wild to think that every year they come in and players can still find a way to do silly stuff. It's not like this something where they tell you the first day of your contract, "Hey, don't make a mistake," and that's the end of that conversation. It's a yearly thing, so that's kind of frustrating just to think about again. But this is not going to be a negative episode. I just wanted to throw that part out there just because I found it interesting that they do come every year. But, another thing that I liked about Steichen, and during this interview, they were asking him about the cornerback room, the young guys being there. What does he think? Or, who's going to have to step up and be that guy? And he essentially said, it's collectively a group effort. He said, "I don't pinpoint guys. I don't pick one person and say this has to be our guy. Everyone has to come together as a group and make this team excel." And I really like that because that's that positivity you need, and that sets everybody's accountability the best. No one's getting put on the pedestal. I think we see egos a lot in the league, and egos can be a good thing, but they can also weigh heavy on teams, especially whenever it comes to player performance. We know if you have the highest ego on the team, you expect to be treated a certain way, you expect everybody to bow down to you, et cetera, et cetera. It seems like he's kind of nipping that in the bud. Not saying that the Colts have anybody who is that egotistical on the team, but he definitely sets a level playing field for everybody. And he said that across the board for every position. It wasn't like he just harped on the cornerbacks group. He said no matter what group it is, we expect everybody to be on that same level. So I could appreciate that. And then kind of just wrapping it up, the biggest elephant in the room, of course, obviously besides Isaiah, was Anthony Richardson getting those second-team snaps today. Minshew got those starter snaps today, and Steichen just said straight up, "Hey, it just happened like that." He said it could very well be tomorrow that Richardson gets the starting snaps. It just happened to be on today, which is a media day. But they also asked, do they think that this is the new thing going forward? And he said, no, it's super early in the process. We still have all summer to figure out, what's going on. Just so happened the chips fell today that Minshew got the starting reps. So that was good to kind of hear.
Can't look too deep into it. We did see a beautiful deep ball to Brashad Perryman from Anthony Richardson. It was over Nick Cross. Nice. I love to hear that stuff, that he's got that deep ball accuracy. But yeah, AR5, that's going to be the talking point of every OTA, mini camp, training camp, all that. It's going to be Anthony Richardson's show. But let's get into our main segment. So we dropped an emergency episode a few days ago after news broke that the Indianapolis Colts cornerback, Isaiah Rodgers Sr., is being investigated for gambling infractions. Just talked about that. In light of that investigation, our cornerback group is taking a big hit. Just like Jamal was talking about, who's actually going to step up? It's going to have to be a group effort. I don't think the severity of the loss can be quantified, right now. But one thing is for sure, we can't rule out the possibility of adding a veteran to the team to replace Rodgers. It can very well happen. So let's take a look at 3 free agent cornerbacks that the Colts should target. Please be sure to comment below with your thoughts. Let us know what you guys think about the cornerback free agency group. We love hearing from you all. Maybe you have another free agent in mind. Be sure to like the video, subscribe if you haven't already. If you're watching our video this far in, you might as well subscribe. That's the best way to support us, guys. Jamal, who do you want to start with?
Go ahead and talk about Eli Apple. Let's talk about him for a little bit.
Eli Apple. Oh, yeah, I know y'all might not like this. Well, yeah, we'll start with I won't say the bad, but perception-wise, I think Eli Apple has a bad look on him. No matter what you think of Eli Apple's persistent trash talking, I still think he's a functional starting corner in this league. He's definitely a troll on social media, but hey, that doesn't bother me as long as you can play. As long as you can play some, that's fine. That's fine. The Bengals have not re-signed him yet, and he's definitely a potential target for the Colts. 6'1", 203 pounds. He's only 27 years old, so he's on the younger side of the veteran. He's had some success over the past few years, some bad moments as well, so some highs and some low lows. Fact of the matter is that we wouldn't be signing him to be the cornerback one for the foreseeable future. No, we just need something solid. He's solid at best, and that's all we need, right? Give me a solid guy to help this cornerback group when we need it. 1-year contract, and I would be content. The Bengals have made it to the Super Bowl and 2 conference championships in the last 2 seasons, and Eli Apple has been the starting cornerback on one side for those times. We can't write him off. You muted.
Sorry, my mic is muted, man. I was like, why can't I say anything? No, you're right. We can't write him off, man. And like you said, dog, he's a trash talker. Everyone knows that. But this is a value. It's a value thing for us, man. I really like that we can get with some experience in there who's played at a very elite level, had opportunities at a very high level on great teams. I want to see someone like him come in and kind of set the tempo for us. Show the young guys the ropes. It's not so much about him, like you mentioned, getting a 6-7 year deal. No, that's not the objective. The objective is for him to come in and essentially kind of train these young guys and show them the ropes, because it's a lot to ask for a rookie, a 20-year-old or whatever, to come into the league and start day one. So someone like him that's a good value pick who's played in Super Bowl, who's had an opportunity to play for that, for the highest thing you can in football. I wouldn't mind him being on our team. And like I like a little trash talker. I do. So I wouldn't mind seeing him out there.
A lot of the best players in a lot of sports are considered assholes, if we're being completely honest. Not saying Eli Apple's at that level, but I just want to make a point. A word from our sponsor before we get to our second player. Father's Day is right around the corner, and you haven't gotten your dad anything yet? Don't worry. That's where the sponsors of today's show, Manscaped, comes in. You and I both know he needs some serious grooming in his life, so grab your dad the Performance Package 4.0, and he'll thank you for helping him tame his beast. It's a win-win situation for both mom and dad. Go to manscaped.com and use code COLTSCAST for 20% off plus free shipping. Manscaped is the only men's brand dedicated to below-the-waist grooming and perfected their game with the Lawnmower 4.0. Imagine surprising your dad with a sleek, well-designed, and optimized grooming kit that says, quote, "Your balls will thank you," end quote, on the box. It would make for the best kind of gift, everyone. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use code COLTSCAST. You see it right below if you're watching the video. Don't forget that you came from your dad's balls this year. Show your original home some love with Manscaped. Jamal, Fabian Moreau. What you think about him?
So that's a name that I'm gonna be honest with you, I wasn't even familiar with up until we got into the situation. But that's a guy who, I mean, after looking some stuff up on him, I kind of like what he's done with the Giants. He had a pretty good year with the Giants last year. I mean, talking about the guy with 10 passes deflected, 66 tackles. he wasn't even a starter at the beginning of the season, but he still managed to have 14 stops. He had his career high was 66 tackles. He was kind of all over the place, and I think he stood out for the Giants. He stepped up for them in a role where they really needed someone at a desperate time. Not again, similar to what I was just saying, is not somebody who we're looking for a long-term fix for us, but someone who can come in and really kind of set a nice tempo for the team, and he can really get out there and show these young guys the ropes. And I think that what he did last year, again, it was a career for him with those tackles. I think he can build on that in the right defensive system, the right defensive scheme, where he can play his role and his role only. And I think Gus Bradley's defense is one where we could see him flourish. And I'm nothing too crazy, but I think he can definitely pick up right where he left off from with the Giants last year.
Yeah, he was a practice squad guy at the beginning of the year. And then, he transitioned into that starting role. Yeah, he's a former third-round pick by Washington, 2017 NFL draft. He's got good size, 6 foot, 204. Like you said, career high in tackles last year, 10 passes defended. I mean, solid, right? Second leading defensive back on the team with tackles behind Julian Love. That's really good. And with the Falcons a year prior, he had 61 tackles with 11 passes defended. Like, these are all very highs out of his entire career. Like, these are career-setting numbers. So he's coming off back-to-back quality seasons, and I think he should be a target for the Colts. It's kind of surprising that the Giants haven't re-signed him. But they did draft 2 corners. They drafted Deontay Banks and Trey Hawkins. So it kind of makes sense that he's still a free agent, giving the rookies a look. But he could still be he could get re-signed to the Giants. We'll see. Could be on the Colts. Never know, right? Look, third and last, and you guys have probably heard his name plenty of times, but we can't leave him out because I would love to have him. Marcus Peters, one of the bigger names on the market. It seems like the Ravens and Peters, they're not interested in going forward with the contract. He's been visiting other teams. I think he last visited the Raiders. I'm not sure, but the Ravens did sign Rock Ya-Sin. So it seems like, that ship has sailed. He's 30 years old, so he's kind of like in that Stephon Gilmore range. But Peters at one time was one of the top corners in the league. You can't deny that. He's a true, what you call a ball hawk. 32 career interceptions. He's a very aggressive corner. Probably not the best fit for the Gus Bradley defensive scheme, in my opinion, but he's attacking the ball and taking calculated risks to get those picks. Still, he's a high risk, high reward player. Because if he fails or gets the wrong read, I feel like the opponents, they're either moving the chain or scoring. Still, I've seen this man levitate up, rob the offense with an interception, like pick 6 type interceptions. Like, I'm telling you, high reward type plays, and also seen him, like, the receiver caught the ball and the man ripped the ball out of his hands and stole it. Like, is that a forced fumble? I think that's a forced fumble recovery all at once. Crazy stuff right there. That is a aggressive player, highly skilled Marcus Peters. We have the cap space. Money shouldn't be a big issue for us. I'd happily take the 4-time All-Pro to help develop and lead our young corners. Boom.
Yeah, no, you're right. And at that 30 years old, I think he's like tied, if not the oldest person on the team. We don't have a lot of age on our Colts team, man. It's a pretty young team overall. So, and I'm not afraid of that 30 years old. That doesn't bug me at all. Like you mentioned, Eric, this dude's a ball hawk. I think he has 7 pick 6. I think it is. It's a crazy number. He's been all over the place. And I just want to touch on that high risk, high reward, like you were just talking about, because I've watched some film on him over the past couple of days. And what I like about him, man, is he can contest that ball. And like you mentioned, I've seen him get in there, rip it out from his hands. But I also like what he does too, where if he knows he's not going to be able to get the ball, like go for a jump ball, he doesn't worry about jumping forward. He kind of just waits for the receiver to get the ball in their hands and then try to either A, knock it out, or B, knock them out of bounds before they can come down with it. I know that's not probably the most, typical thing to do, especially because, I mean, as a you want to see your cornerback at least try to make some kind of eye contact with the ball. But in a situation where I think he can kind of read his receiver he's been on the entire game, if he knows he's not going to contest that ball, next best thing for me is for you to figure out a way to get this guy out of bounds before he can get on the ground. And I think he does a pretty good job with that. I do think he has that kind of aggressive old school play to him, and that's where his high risk, high reward comes in, where he's trying to, hit stick you, lay you out every single play. But I like that, man. I like that in him. And I again, I think that'll be a solid fit for what we have going on here. If he can figure out a way to remember that we have other players on the team who can possibly get burned in the situation where you could jeopardize this if you make a mistake, if you try to jump a ball too quickly or you try to go
fatal error.
Yes, yeah. And that's the only thing that would scare me. But besides that, man, hey, I'm all on board. We got the space for him. Let's make it happen.
Yeah, I liked how you talked about how he kind of reacts to the receiver. I've seen a lot of corners do this. They'll watch what the receiver's looking at, kind of see what they're doing, and instantly react. So once they put their hands up, cornerbacks putting their hands up to get in a way somehow, they're jumping when the receiver jumps. It's kind of a reactive play, but it works a lot of times. You see what the receiver's doing. If you can react fast enough, you can deflect that ball out or deny them the catch. It's impressive. But that is 3 targets for the Colts in light of the Isaiah Rodgers Sr. situation. Very heartbreaking. We talked about it last emergency pod episode. This is not how I wanted to start the week off as an Indianapolis Colts fan, but here we are. Life gives you lemons. Lots of lemons. Very bitter lemons. But that's going to be it for us, everyone. Thank you for listening to the Colts Cast. We are live on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or any platform you use to listen to podcasts. We'll be back next time to give you some more Indianapolis Colts content. Y'all have a good weekend.
Enjoy.
Once it gets here, though.
Yeah, it's almost here.